From the Convergence Studio in the School of Communication, this is Loyola News Chicago.
Hello, and welcome to Loyola News Chicago. I'm Roberta Anglin.
And I'm Danielle Gallion. Here's the news. It's opening day for the Cubs, which means Wrigley Field is in full swing. On the corner of Addison and Clark, Cubs fans crowded the streets, eager to watch the Cubs take on the Washington Nationals. Some fans took pictures outside the ballpark with mascots, while others admired the statues of former Cubs players. The Northsiders will look to achieve a higher spot than their fifth-place slum last season. One reason to be optimistic is the team's new president of operations, Theo Epstein. The former general manager of the Red Sox will be the brains behind the Cubs' push to end 103 years without a World Series title. Cubs owner Tom Ricketts says he has never been more confident in the team's future.
With all of the excitement of opening day, we sent reporter Mike Byra to Wrigley Field. And Mike says there were a lot of hopeful Cub fans.
The wind's blowing in here at Wrigley Field as fans are standing behind me waiting to get into the ballpark. We spoke with some fans who gave us their thoughts about the season coming up for the Cubs.
It's great, very crowded, a lot of people. It looks like it's going to be a great game.
I've been coming out to Wrigley since 1945, and it's been a sacred ground for me ever since. In the last few years, we've seen a lot of great traditions fall. But the worst thing that happened in my lifetime happened for me in person last year when I went to my only game. And within the first 3 innings, they had done 2 complete waves around the ballpark. I got up and left the ballpark.
It's the start of the big special year.
Why do you say that?
I'm optimistic every year on opening day we're going to win the World Series.
Well, if the other teams disappear, the Cubs will go all the way.
This is going to be the year. This is it. New management, new everything. It's going to be a new tradition.
Even though baseball experts say the Cubs' chances of winning are very slim, many Cubs fans still believe that this might be the year. Mike Byra, Loyola News Chicago.
Cub fans can now look forward to a new song playing at the ballpark. Thanks to a WGN radio contest, the new song titled Go Cubbies Go can be heard during Cubs play-by-play. The song was written by the Warrenville band, The Fold. But fans, don't worry, you can still hear the classic Steve Goodman song Go Cubbies Go during games as well.
A bartender from a Gold Coast nightclub has been fired for posting racist comments on her Facebook page. The bartender worked at Proof nightclub on the corner of Rush and Cedar. The Chicago Sun-Times reports the unidentified female used the N-word and the words ignorant and animals to describe African-American customers. Proof's marketing manager says the bartender was fired 20 minutes after she saw the post. Xavier University in Cincinnati has made a new decision about birth control for its employees, falling in line with the same stance Loyola has taken. According to the Loyola Phoenix, Xavier is ending birth control coverage for employees under their health care plan, unless it's needed for medical reasons. The change takes effect July 1st. At Loyola, the university also does not provide birth control coverage based on religious reasons.
When the Dalai Lama comes to campus this month, only a sliver of the Loyola community will get to attend. Tickets for the once-in-a-lifetime event sold out within 24 hours, just to Loyola students, preventing faculty and alumni from buying any. Jessica Reynolds reports on the ticket situation.
The Dalai Lama is touring the world, and he's making a stop at Loyola's campus on April 26th. Students got first pick for tickets, leaving faculty, staff, and alumni in the dark. The university's Dalai Lama coordinating committee didn't anticipate students to buy all the tickets.
We knew that there would be a high demand from the students. And maybe this was naive on our part, we had no idea that the students would swipe up all the tickets in 8 hours.
The plan was to gradually release sales, first to students, then to faculty and staff, then to alumni, over a 2-week time frame. But students snatched up nearly all the 3,700 seats in the Gentile Center, minus 100 that were pre-sold to benefactors and university trustees. Because Loyola's event was so heavily advertised to alumni, the Alumni Relations Office received dozens of complaints from people who desperately wanted to see the spiritual leaders lecture.
As soon as we knew they sold out, a message went out right about the same time that the faculty staff were informed. And we got some initial feedback of people who were really disappointed that they'd been looking forward to it.
Some alumni understood why students had first priority to seating, as the event is expected to be educational and examine interfaith dialogue.
One of the Dalai Lama's major initiatives is college students. And so for the past few years, he's been traveling around the country, going to universities and colleges to speak to students because he feels they are the answer to solving the world's problems.
The planning committee is looking into live streaming the event. However, they fear the high influx of viewers might cause Loyola's website to crash, preventing anyone from watching. For his lecture, the Dalai Lama is sure to be greeted by an enthusiastic crowd, just one comprised fully of students. Jessica Reynolds, Loyola News, Chicago.
As of Wednesday, April 4th, tickets to the Tibet Center's morning event were still available in the $80 and $120 price range.
Coming up, Loyola students tell us how their Lenten sacrifices went.
And how a Loyola team will match wits with students from around the world. That's stories next.
So, are you going out tonight? I can't. My parents say I have to be home right after work. That's so gay.
Totally gay.
Ugh, that is so Emma and Julia. Why are you saying that's so Emma and Julia? Well, you know, when something is dumb or stupid, you say that's so Emma and Julia.
Who says that?
Everyone.
Imagine if who you are were used as an insult. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
How you feel? How you feel?
I'm feeling good. Spin me, spin me.
Got you. I got you.
Oh, goodness.
Being a lawyer is not always about stirring courtroom speeches, as police procedurals like Law and Order would have you believe. Alex Rich reports on one Loyola team who will compete on the international stage in a lesser-known, but just as important, legal skill.
These Loyola students are practicing the fine art of negotiation, combining the skills of finesse, research, and knowing when to give and when to take. These skills will be put to the test when these three Loyola law students travel to the Warsaw School of Economics in Poland for an international negotiating competition. John Liston, Gabriel, Gorman, and Madeline Tzall will make up the Loyola team, one of only 2 American universities in the competition, and will be going up against teams from places such as China, Ethiopia, Brazil, and Austria. Although the competition will be conducted in English, the culture barrier may prove to be difficult.
It's kind of a game of poker when you go into a negotiation trying to tell who's holding back, who's all in, who's bluffing. When you add the element of culture, I think that adds a degree of difficulty.
Negotiations play an important role in the process of litigation, since most cases never make it to trial and are worked out behind the scenes. The competition will pit 2 teams against each other, as seen here in this practice negotiation, and is judged based on the team's ability to work out the best deal for their clients. In this competition, the team will receive a brief on their client and will have 1 hour to prepare for each round. Topics can range from the sale of a home to pharmaceutical sales involving complex international patent laws. Strategy is important, and each member of the team has a different way to achieve their goal.
I think having clear sort of set of goals, but also being flexible. Understanding that there's more than one path to get to a destination, I think is really important.
It really is convincing yourself that there are stakes. You really have to be totally immersed in the problem and think of the real consequences if this were the real world. And I think that that's what lends power as an advocate, is really believing the problem.
When the Loyola negotiation team leaves next month, the words will fly in Warsaw. and the team will hope to negotiate a win for both their school and their country. Alex Rich, Loyola News, Chicago.
The team will leave April 19th for the competition, which begins in Warsaw on the 20th.
Loyola's mock trial team is headed to the national championship. According to the Loyola Student Dispatch, this is the first time in 10 years that 2 of Loyola's mock trial teams have qualified for the national championship. This came after their competition at Washington University in St. Louis. The 2 teams consist of 9 students and 5 of them are seniors. The teams will participate in the national championship in Minneapolis on April 13th to the 15th. There's a new president at Loyola. The United Student Government Association held elections last week. Julia Poirier and Sarah McDowell won as president and vice president. Also on the ticket were Thomas Serena and Louis Kern as chief of student organization and chief justice. Before the election, candidates debated here in our Convergence studio. Several topics came up, including the water bottle ban and current tuition rates. Poirier thinks Loyola tuition costs are far too high for students.
I'll comment on that. Sure. I think it is important to have a grandfathered in tuition because I think it's really about caring for all the students while they're here. Student aid and student debt is a very serious issue. It's said to be the next economic bubble crisis. So I think that Loyola must start to really focus on how much they're caring for the students while they're enrolled at Loyola.
Poirier will have to work closely with administrators if she hopes to reform tuition prices. And the Uncapped campaign that aims to ban plastic water bottles from campus was passed. 57% voted in favor of the bill, while 43% voted against it.
Ron Santo fans can now spend a night in the Ron Santo Suite. The late Chicago Cubs player and commentator spent many nights in a hotel. The Westin Michigan Avenue Hotel has decided to redecorate its corner suite, room 1000, in honor of Santo. With its walls covered in old photos of Santo, the room will cost $600 a night. $100 from each reservation will be donated to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Santo battled diabetes throughout his life. The hotel will also donate $100 to diabetes research for every win the Cubs have this season.
The Lenten season is almost over from Ash Wednesday until Easter Sunday. Many Catholics and other Christians give up some of their guilty pleasures and habits. We talked to students to see how their sacrifices went.
I feel like giving something up or sacrificing, a luxury or a treat like chocolate or pop will only benefit me and make me healthier and make me a better person. But I think it's more about your relationships with people.
I gave up soda and buying coffee drinks. I think it can start forming a habit for after Lent. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but usually I just go back to guzzling pop, so it doesn't really help all the time.
Well, I tried to give up candy, but failed. There's really no nutritional benefit, and apparently it rots your teeth. So I was like, well, I better stop while I can.
In Orthodox churches, Lent is actually 50 days long since they do not count Saturdays or Sundays. Boots has escaped from her death sentence. An 11-year-old cat from Berwyn was supposed to be euthanized according to the will of her owner, Georgia Dvorak. 76-year-old Dvorak died recently and stated in her will that she wanted her cat to be euthanized at the time of her death. But Fifth Third Bank was appointed to manage the will and didn't want to carry out the death sentence for the cat. A Cook County probate judge allowed the bank to find alternate arrangements for Boots.
Well, it looked like they saved one of her 9 lives.
Good for her. That's our news for today. Thanks for watching.
We leave you today with scenes at opening day at Wrigley Field by Loyola News photographer Alex Rich. Have a great day.
I got it in front of the folks. Beautiful day.